us to respond as Christian individuals and as the Church. Our individual solutions to complex problems are not enough. The only way the Church will be able to effectively respond to any type of injustice is to pursue comprehensive methodologies that look at the common themes, trends, and dynamic aspects of broken and unjust systems. A comprehensive approach must be employed to bring change and healing to people, places, and communities where power is abused. Part 1 lays a foundation of what the Bible has to say about God's heart for justice. Chapter 1 considers what social justice looks like in the 21st century and recounts some of the history of justice within the evangelical tradition. It then discusses holistic prophetic advocacy, including social, legal, spiritual, political, and economic means. Chapter 2 delves more deeply into political advocacy. How should politics and our faith interact? And what does it mean to have a healthy Christian ethic in our engagement with religion and politics? Part 2 emphasizes justice issues in global and domestic poverty. Chapter 3 looks at how to integrate our Christian faith and get involved in responding to the needs of the world's poor. Progress has been made on eradicating extreme poverty around the world, but much work needs to be done. Chapter 4 looks at how poverty manifests itself differently in the United States. Material deprivation, the crisis of despair that has led many to opioid addiction and suicide, healthcare, and the growing gap between the rich and the poor in the United States all play a role in domestic poverty. Part 3 focuses on race. Chapter 5 begins by defining terms like white supremacy, white fragility, and racism, and then wrestles with the shifting demographics of America and how the white community is responding. Chapter 6 documents events from the murder of Trayvon Martin to the racial unrest in Ferguson, as well as the rise in shootings around the United States that have terrorized schools, movie theaters, mosques, and churches. The Church must seek to understand racial violence, police brutality, and the age of incarceration. Chapter 7 addresses the global immigration crisis, refugees, and battles at the border between the United States and Mexico. Immigration continues to become a more polarizing issue, from the influx of refugees fleeing from violence and poverty to the highly debated immigration policies that guard our own borders. Chapter 8 focuses on global racial and ethnic violence, highlighting historic and contemporary global conflicts and explaining how Christian organizations are seeking to address the resulting humanitarian desperation and respond to the devastating effects of ongoing war. Part 4 focuses on gender issues of oppression and injustice around the world. Chapter 9 addresses the realities affecting women in the United States, from the #MeToo movement to sexual discrimination and violations in the workplace, general society, and the Church. Chapter 10 highlights places where women continue to be legally identified as second-class citizens, with significant impairments on their freedom and human rights, addressing topics such as sex trafficking, violence against women, body image realities, and the question of abortion. Part 5 highlights divides in the 21st century. Chapter 11 discusses justice issues that relate to marriage and sexuality. How might Christians and organizations seek to maintain biblical integrity and faithfulness to the gospel while also advocating for the rights of all people? This chapter highlights personal stories of those impacted by debates around sexuality and LGBTQ+ inclusion, and looks deeply at biblical arguments across the spectrum of views. Chapter 12 looks at the complex and deeply rooted conflicts around Israel and the Middle East, covering topics such as the Palestinian Christian community, realities of life for Palestinians living under occupation, human rights concerns, and the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The chapter also addresses anti-Semitism, Christian-Jewish relations, Christian Zionism, and Palestinian liberation theology. The final chapter focuses on religious freedom and how it affects many faith communities in the United States and around the world. This chapter calls listeners to stand up against bigotry, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and any belief that condemns or brings harm to other faith traditions. The intersection of